So I see you have a good credit score. You have a mortgage, and you have a car loan, and you have some credit cards, and you have a bunch of personal loans. Okay, so talk to me a minute. Tell me what your questions are first.
Well, Christy, I just don't know how to tackle this. I think I would probably be okay and approved if I ask for a line of credit. Sorry, loan. No,
No, don't make me pull
no.
that out. Don't make me.
But I do think that I think I don't even know how much to ask for. And I was hearing yesterday one of your YouTube videos saying, if they offer you the 20, take the 20. You use what you need. You just don't need to use the full
Right.
amount,
Mhm.
which is totally fine. But then, do I include my mortgage in that? You know what I mean? The payment of that mortgage. I'm a little
Yeah.
confused.
Okay, so you have, according to your worksheet, you have about $300,000 in debt. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
So let's look. You have 386 value on your home, approximately 90%. Okay. So for example, 297,000 in total debt. So with your 386 value, 386K is the value of your home. Times 90% means you have about 347,000 loan to value, meaning 90% of your value is 347,000. So that's what they would allow you in the event that you decide to move into a first lien HELOC. So
Hmm.
with the 347,000, you could pay off the 297,000. That would leave you 50,000 available. You don't have to touch it, but you will have it. Now, what happens to this 297 is you're currently making $5,153 in payments every month. This now turns into cash flow. So what does that mean for your 297,000 that you owe? So even though you're in a negative of 1608 right now, 5153, 1608, that means you would have 3545 in cash flow after your negative. Now, what does that do to your total debt? Well, let's look. How are you paid? Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly?
Biweekly.
That's great, because that'll make it move even faster. So that means in 119 months, you would have all of this paid off. So 9.9 years,
Wow.
your home and everything would be paid off.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if I were in your situation, I would certainly be looking for a first lien HELOC.
Even in this economy and the way the houses are moving, I guess the danger is a second lien HELOC, right? That would
The
be,
second, that
yeah,
is the
got
danger.
it.
Yes, the second is the danger. When you have property values dropping in a second position, they will freeze those. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. So if they freeze, that means you just don't have access to that anymore.
I
But
see. Mhm.
if they don't freeze, and they have never frozen the first lien HELOCs. So there's no history of first liens that have been frozen. But the first lien is just your mortgage. So it's just in a line of credit. So that way you're able to use your mortgage then as a line of credit, where all of your income is going in, all of your expenses are coming out. So it's
Mhm.
looks like your answer, because you have a lot of payments, it's just stealing your cash flow. If you can just turn that cash flow into payments,
Mhm.
your home and everything is paid off in 9.9 years.
Bananas. Thank you
What
so much. This is really helpful. It really
you're
is.
you're very welcome. What other questions do you have?
Well, I was thinking if I were to take smaller bites and use a smaller line of credit, I know you're thinking, why would she do that? But but I do have someone that's going to college in 3 years.
Right.
So thinking about that, right, that it's not unforeseen because I know it's happening, but I guess from here to 4 years, there's going to be some payments done already on that first lien HELOC, right? I would be
Right.
almost in 4 years, almost halfway there. That if we needed to go to a trip or, use some of that for that expense, that it would be available,
Right. So you're going to be in $120,000 in
Hmm.
48 months. So, you know, a lot can happen in it in a couple of days, much less 4 years. So you're going to have life happen and you're going to have things come up. And just like that, you're going to, you know, be making trips, vacations, whatever that is going to figure into this. But since you are now, after you move into the first lien HELOC, you're actually working down the debt, you have room to breathe. Whereas
Hmm.
right now you're in a negative and you don't have room to do anything but suffocate.
Exactly. But call you and ask for help.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know there's a
you
lot of us on the line. I appreciate your advice.
you are very welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up another worksheet and let's talk about yours. You pay rent. You have a car lease. Now you're using credit cards to pay your rent and your car lease. So they're charging you those fees. Is it worth it to you to pay the fees?
And that was my question. Yes,
Okay.
because I hear all the time online, if you can pay it, pay everything that you can pay with credit. And
Hmm.
so I started doing that. And when I look at my fees, I think I pay 59 for one and 26 or something for the other.
Right.
And that's why when I come across a show, I was like, well, maybe it's not worth me paying that 80 something dollars in fees if I just pay it out of my cash. But my biggest issue is, well, a little background. Um, I feel like I have the cash flow to really make it work for me. I just don't know where to start because I have so much
Hmm.
of the credit card debt, and then there's a line of credit. The City card is a line of credit, and
Okay.
what I've been kind of living on and paying the most of my money towards each month is my Chase card.
Okay.
And I was doing that not just for the rewards, but that was the biggest thing. They had the most rewards on it. But that's the one that I kind of just started doing it the most on when I had the availability of the credit to put my rent as well as my car lease note on. But I just want to, I don't know if I should start high with the highest one or start with the lowest one. I don't know if I should be looking at the one with the most interest on it because they're all, so high at this point. And I didn't know if I should be just paying out of my regular checking account for my lease and my rent as opposed to put it on my credit. I didn't know which would be the smartest thing to do. If it's is it actually advantageous for me to put it on my credit or not?
Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions. When you're using Citi as your line of credit, do they charge you a fee?
And see, that's just it. When I took out the City, it was to transfer other debt. I just came out of a really volatile marriage. I'm separated, going through a divorce, and when I left my home, I left everything. And so all this credit is from me building a new place for me and my 13-year-old daughter. So, I came in just trying to just relax and make things as normal as possible for her by furnishing our apartment, not, as fast as I could. I'm a disabled veteran, so I get a really nice compensation, VA compensation monthly. And
Okay.
so in my mind, while going through everything, I said, okay, I'll leave everything, take everything that we just have to take. But I'm
Mhm.
furnishing a whole new apartment by myself. And I said, I'll just use my VA comp to do that because I'm still working every day. But in light of everything, looking back, just to try to make myself feel good and be, have my happy moments, I spent too much. And so I have the
That's
high
okay.
credit now.
That's
And with that
okay.
being said, again, I
Yeah.
think I can still come out of it. And
Right.
my thing is I want to come out of it fast. I really want to retire myself early. I'm retired military. I just turned 50. I'm trying to retire by the time I'm 56. I know I have to get rid of this debt because I want to leave the country. I want to go elsewhere
Okay.
to retire.
Okay.
So I really want to be as aggressive as possible. Part of me wants to just sell everything in an apartment and go back to my mom's for a few years and just say, okay, do it that way. But then at the same time, I want to keep some type of normalcy for my 13-year-old.
Right.
So that's really not a option I really want to entertain. So
Right.
with all of this debt now for trying to make things normal for my daughter and myself, I just want to pay it down as aggressively as possible so I can set myself up to be able to just completely retire in the
Okay.
next 4 to 5 years. And I want to do it the smartest way possible, but yet the fastest way possible.
Okay. So first off, you've not made any mistakes. I mean, you're where you are today, but you're going to come out of this smelling pretty. So don't be beating yourself up over any spending that you did. I too have been in your situation, so I know what it feels like to pull out of a situation and then you're trying to rebuild your life. So, wow, lots of mistakes made during those periods, but guess what? We live, we recover better than we did before. So I'm glad that you were able to get out of that situation. So let's talk about, first of all, the fees with your car lease and your rent. If your card that you're paying with does not reimburse that with the rewards that they're giving you every month, then no, it's not worth
Okay.
you
There you
paying the
go.
fees.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So that's the only time I make the suggestion that someone would use a credit card to pay their rent or a car payment or anything, is only if the rewards that you're getting off of the cards are actually paying those fees for you. Okay.
Understood.
So I hope that that answers that question.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you know your credit score?
Yes, it has plummeted. I was right at like a 812 for the last 2 years until all this happened. And I have Credit Karma, and all my credit cards have the score thing. So I'm constantly, and that's kind of beating me up too, because it's constantly telling me it's dropping, it's dropping. I'm at a 634 now, which
Okay.
is the lowest I've been in over 25 years.
Okay.
And that part of that is why I'm so motivated and I want to do this as aggressively as possible, because I can't stand to see that. I haven't seen that since I was in my early 20s,
Right.
late
And
20s,
so,
early 30s. So
and that is just a result of what you've got going on here. So
right,
it
the
will come
high
back up
balances.
quickly. Yes.
Yes.
Don't be sweating that right now. That's going to work out.
Okay.
Let's talk about your USAA.
Yes,
Is that linked to a checking account?
it is.
Are you using it like I teach you to use with the lines of credit?
No,
Okay,
no.
that's your first move. If I were in your situation, I would be using the USAA starting at the 19,816. So you have 19,816 for a balance, and you have a payment of 297. Now you have good income. So when you put your income in here, you're going to be reducing that balance. That's going to help your credit score eventually. But what's really going to be the kicker here is that you're going to be able to pay your expenses right back out of the USAA card.
I've been doing my Chase that way. Why is it the USAA you say I should do that as opposed to my Chase? And I
Chase,
guess I favor my Chase because I get, we've been, I can travel on it. I have my Marriott's awards. When I travel, my birthday was just on the 17th of April. I used it because I had 3 nights to stay for free at a Marriott in DC. So my daughter and I went there for my birthday weekend. So I use it for that per se, whereas my USAA MX card don't give those kind of awards at all.
okay. But are you telling me that Chase is linked to your checking where you can pull out cash as you need it?
Oh, no, no,
No,
I only use the Chase. I put all of my cash on my Chase card, and then that's what I live off of, my Chase card. I'll put all my cash on it, and I turn around and reuse it
you
throughout the
can,
month.
yes, and you can continue to do that. But when
Okay.
you go to pay Chase, that cash, you would pay it out of your USAA.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because USAA allows you, because it's a credit card linked to your checking, and they will allow you to pull cash out of USAA and put it into your checking account as needed. So that
Yes.
way,
Okay.
every dime that you make can go into Chase. If you have the
Okay.
link, verify that.
Okay.
And if you have the link, like most of my members do, you
Okay.
can pull this 9,000 back out throughout the month as you need it to pay your
I
other expenses.
see. Okay.
Okay.
I
So
see.
that
Yes.
means that when your American Express Gold, your Platinum, your City, your Chase, your Ashley Furniture, Loves, all that comes due, you can pay it out of here. And what's beautiful about this too is as this works down, you're going to be able to reach over and pay off your Apple Card, pay off your furniture loans. And I mean, you're going to free up cash flow. Your lending
Okay.
club is almost $700 a month, and that's only
Right.
$50,000. So if you
Right.
could transfer, little bits at a time and get that 700 back in cash flow, you're going to be a winner because you have good income. So there's no reason that you shouldn't be working through your debt really quickly.
Okay.
Okay. How do you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly?
I work for the government, the federal government, so usually around the 1st and the 15th, and then that VA comp, the 4,600, it comes on the between the 27th and the 29th.
Okay, so I'm just making sure here on your expenses because it looks like to me that you have really good cash flow. Where's your crunch? Where do you feel like? Because I feel like that you feel like you're smothering, but you're really not.
Yeah, because okay, so when I get my VA comp at the end of the month, and I actually just last week I called Chase to ask to have my due date changed. It was the 12th of the month, with
Mhm,
my close date being the 15th, I think it was.
mhm.
And while I was thinking about it, I said, well, let me have it changed closer to the date that I get my VA comp. Because when I get that $4,600 check, that's when I put it all towards my Chase and then I start, paying out stuff that I could pay off with my credit card with that income. But because of where it landed on the 12th and the 15th, by the close date, I've
Right.
paid out so much. It's like it's still reporting a a high rate on
Mhm.
my Chase card because I didn't pay my rent, and other big things. So I thought it would be smart to change it to the end of the month, right when I get my comp, and I can kind of slow walk. I have between the first and the fifth to pay my rent. And the
Right.
close date now is the third, for the Chase account. So I figure it gives me time to kind of still some wiggle room so that reporting amount is not as high anymore. And it'll reflect better on my credit score, what have you. But then after I pay that, I do have money to work with. I guess I'm so anxious. When
I
I
can
was
hear it.
younger, I went through a
I can hear it.
bankruptcy, and I don't ever want to be there again. And in light of
Right.
everything else that's going on, I just want to be on top again and position myself so I'm better,
Okay.
And so this is just a real big anxiety for me. But
Right.
when I left, I didn't think I knew it was going to probably come to this, but at the same time, that wasn't my issue. I needed to leave, and I just left everything literally.
Right.
And so
I
now I'm
know.
like, I want to get out of this hole. I feel like I'm in a hole because I haven't been
Yeah.
here in so long. I
I
want to get
know.
out as fast as possible, and I want to do it the smart way.
I want you to take a deep breath
Oh, okay.
because you are. I understand completely what you're feeling right now, but you just need to take a deep breath and tell yourself everything's going to be just fine. It's going to work out fine. I have been through two bankruptcies. So
Okay.
I know that if I can recover, same situations it sounds like you've been in or you're currently coming out of, you're new to this. So if you're talking about your events have happened in the last year or two, it took me
It
about
just happened like 8 months. It's been
okay,
eight
it
months. I
took me about
left.
5 years to get back on my feet and to feel like
Oh,
I knew that I was even living again, that I was doing anything right. So
okay.
you're going to have to just come through it. It feels crazy right now, but when you come through and you get on the other side, you're going to be a new person. So you just have to, you're kind of probably in a fog right
Very.
now to where you just
Yeah,
feel like everything's crazy. And
absolutely.
I know. So
Right.
take a deep breath and
Okay.
just know that if you get in a strategy, it's all going to work out.
Right.
You just
Okay.
need to get into a strategy
Right.
because you're kind of, you're feeling like you're just jumbled right now. And that's
Right.
totally understandable. I mean, I get it. But when you're working with your line of credit and if you use USAA
Okay.
and they link this, you can use this for all of your expenses. So that means that your living expenses are about 2336. The remaining debt payments after this. So remember, when your income goes in here, this is eliminated or satisfied. Okay. So if you add these in, you're at 16,671. So you're going to pay a little bit of interest. So your interest
Right.
on this card, 1815. Very good.
But
So
see, the funny thing with that is when I took out that line of credit to transfer some other stuff off. It was my washer and dryer that I wanted to. It was about to come due. They give you that introductory period, and then they charge
right.
all this high interest on it. So I added it to this card. That was one of the things. But when I did it was like $20,000 on it, or $21,000. Actually, yeah, $21,000. And I just realized they dropped it. They dropped my overall
Yes.
line of credit, and I think that's because of all the high balance is starting to affect me, which I'm fine with. But the interest is about to start kicking in. It was no interest for like a year, and so I hit that year in August,
Okay. I
and
wish
that's
we
when
could
that
have caught
interest will
that.
kick in.
I wish. So it's going to
Yeah,
kick in August.
in August is when the interest actually kicks in. Yes,
Which card?
it's the line of credit.
Okay. So that's 16,138. And that's in August. You should be up and able to get that out of that before it hits. Okay. That should be your goal. But what I'm
Okay,
saying about your USAA here, you're going to use this line to pay off that line. So you've got to
okay,
get it ready. Okay.
okay,
So
okay,
this is your month one. This is income month one, say June.
okay.
Your expenses are going to come out. Your debt payments will come out. Your interest will come out. All of this comes out throughout the month, not in one chunk. So
Right.
it slowly raises this balance back up to 16,923. So 16,923. The next month, you're going to have 9,000 out again for month two. Now you're at 7,923. Do you see how fast this is going to pay off?
Oh, wow.
You're just putting
Okay.
your money in the wrong places. Once you start
And that's
putting
what I
your
felt
money,
like. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
once you get a strategy going, you're going to be able to pay off your debt really quickly. Now, it's
So,
very
okay, let me stop
important.
you. So while I'm putting all that money towards the city, I'm just only paying the minimum amount right now on everything
Yes.
else,
Yes,
even
on
though there are
everything
higher
else.
interest rates. Like they
Yes.
chase those interest rates are high.
Well, you don't have a choice right now. You've got to work this down.
Okay,
As this comes down, you're going to start picking up the high interest, okay?
gotcha.
But right
Okay,
now, you've got to get your credit straightened out and back up so that you can get into a true line of credit. Right now, you're playing with credit cards,
right, exactly.
okay? So
Okay,
listen, the way you're going to get your credit score back up is you're going to use those credit cards correctly. You
okay,
have got to make multiple payments throughout the month on those credit cards. Do not wait until the due date to make
right.
payment. They are ripping you off. Okay. If you
Understood.
can take your $250 payment that's due on Chase, for example, divide
Mhm.
that up into 5 or 6 payments and put them, a couple throughout the week, a
Mhm.
couple throughout each week, your credit score will boost back up.
So
Plus,
even if I'm only paying 250, but I'm breaking that
yes,
250 down into multiple payments, it's going to have an effect.
yes. So
I
you
don't
have to
understand.
remember the important thing to remember about credit cards is a credit card is on a 25-day interest cycle. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So right here, and let's say your payment's due on the 28th, it takes this whole period here, which is 25 days, and where they get us with the credit cards. I love credit cards, don't get me wrong, I'm always going to use them. But the 25 days can be stopped. And the way you do that is if you have this $250 that you would divide up. Let's say on the second, you said, "Hey, I'm going to throw 25 bucks onto that card." Okay. Then you wait till the 5th and you say, "Hey, I'm going to throw $10 on that card." What this does is when you're hitting this period, this 25 days, it
Right.
stops the cycle and has to reset. Well, when it resets, every time you
Wow.
throw any amounts into your balance, you're lowering the balance. So they have to recalculate.
Okay.
Where they get us is if you leave it on this 25-day cycle and you just make this payment on the date that they tell you to, they won. Because guess what? They're charging you interest on your highest balance for that month.
Science balance. Right.
If you're hitting
Wow.
it like this just every few days, it's like stop, reset. You go a few days, stop, reset. So you're constantly making them reset, and it's just resetting this 25 days, and you're knocking it all over the place, and now they're like ugh. So you have to learn that it's more important for you to put the smaller payments throughout the week and the month than it is for you just to throw a chunk on it on a due date. That's what they want you to do, is wait till that due date. Do not do that. It's going to
Okay.
accomplish two things. It's going to cut your interest charges back, and it's going to boost your credit score.
Okay.
I have testimonies every day, people contacting me saying, "Oh my gosh, I did the multiple payments on the credit card, and I've had 40, 90, 120 point jumps in credit scores within the next reporting date."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's important that we definitely stop this cycle that they've got.
Okay.
They want you to wait till the due date. Whoever's listening, if you have credit cards, I even do this, and I don't need a credit score right now. If
Okay.
you have credit cards, make sure that you're hitting it throughout the month so that you are boosting your credit score if you need it, or you are certainly cutting your interest charges back if you're leaving balances sitting on these things past the due dates. It's compounding the next month. Do not do that, okay? So that
Okay.
is one way to get your credit score up. After you do this, what I showed you with your USAA card, you're going to be working down your debt pretty quickly, okay?
Okay. Okay.
And I want you to go to my playlist on YouTube on the
Okay.
channel.
Yes.
Under the playlist, there is a section called Credit Card Debt Strategies.
Yes. Okay.
They're listed there. It tells you how to break down your expenses per credit card. It shows you how to do that and how to use your credit cards as expense cards where you're turning your payments into cash flow. And now you're
Okay.
working them down too. Okay.
Okay. But
Do you have
feasibly, as I'm paying these down, I shouldn't be using it. I should only be using one card, right? At this
uh,
point.
if you're trying to turn your payments into cash flow, you would want to use them all. And that's what the videos will show you how to do.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you have a couple or three strategies you could be using right now. And once your
Okay.
credit score's up and you're able to get into a true line of credit, then you're going to really breathe. But USAA is serving pretty good. So
Okay. Good to know. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Thank
And
you so much.
you're welcome. If you have any questions that you forgot to ask, you feel free to stay on here, listen. I don't care one bit. If
Okay.
you have
Oh yeah, I
questions
will.
after we hang up tonight, feel free to email me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome.
Okay.
You all have a terrific rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay. Have a good one.